Alright, a very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. For your information, our program will begin shortly. Participants are requested to turn on your camera to make this event more lively. And also kindly ensure your mic is muted to avoid any disruption. Thank you. Asian Talk Show 2022. A warm welcome and greetings to our honorable guest, the Madam DHARSHIKA excellent teacher from our amazing virtual audience. We hope all of you are safe and excited for this session. The most awaited day has arrived. We warmly welcome all of you to this talk show, We Survive Online Education. To keep you entertained throughout this whole section, I will be moderating this talk show. Well, I'm THARSHINI SKOVALAN, final year communication student from UPSI. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure that many of you are curious to know what is this talk show is all about. Like many of you have a lot of curiosity, like what we are going to talk about it tonight. Today. So without further ado, let's start this talk show. So let me begin with Madam DHARSHIKA. So Madam, I know that you are teaching for more than 10 years. So do you personally prefer online or face-to-face classes?
Okay, thank you, Moderator Tarshini. So first of all, I would like to thank the moderator for having me here today. Okay, for your question, I would actually prefer face-to-face education rather than online education because I feel like it's more comfortable for me, with my blackboard, writing down all the notes for my students. And when I interact with my students, it would be, like I could sense if they are having, like any confusion or if they understand whatever I'm giving them through their facial expressions. So I think that, I actually prefer face-to-face education.
Okay, as you say, you actually prefer face-to-face education, but during this pandemic, I think you have to go for online, right? And I'm sure it will be so stressful for you to teach remotely during this COVID-19 pandemic. So can you say a few words on that?
Okay, yeah, I mean, I would never say that it was not stressful. When the pandemic hit, it was as if I'm entering into a new world because I need to quickly learn how to teach online to my students. With all the meeting apps such as Google Meet, WebEx, and Zoom, these are the common ones I encourage my students to use as well as the school. However, that was not the most stressful part for me actually. The most stressful part was teaching online was dealing with students who do not have, internet access or even electronic devices. It's actually a pity for the students from actually low income families to adapt to these situations. Um, this is because online learning is very dependent on internet access. So, okay, for example, in my school, students are given work through Google Form or the app for the website quizzes, but not all of my students can get access. Sometimes they will have internet connection problem. Sometimes they don't have enough devices because other students are using. So few of my students, as I said, do not have the online data, and it is a problem for them as few of their families are with more than one schooling child, but only have one electronic device. Sometimes they only have one laptop or one handphone at home for them to use. Hence, sometimes I had to call them personally to tell them about the homework so that they don't fall behind in their studies. So yeah.
All right, madam, we completely understand what you're saying. Like, I personally have seen many students, like not only here, like overall in Malaysia, they only have this one little smartphone, the normal phone that we use, and they they couldn't access much software or any other applications through that phone. So somehow they need tablet or laptop in order to do their assignments and to do their online things and all that. And I have to highlight here that actually I'm from Kuala Lumpur, and then my lectures when I'm in my classes and everything, they have this kind of stereotype where people, students from Kuala Lumpur or cities like Johor Bahru or Penang, they assume that our internet connection is really good and we have no any problem with our connection and everything, but it's not about that. We cannot predict when we will have problem with our connection. So let's move on to the next panel, which is NURFAEZIE. So I know there are a lot of advantages, like when we learning through online learning, right? So can you explain on that? Like, what are the advantages of online learning?
So thank you, Ms. Darshini, for the question. So direct to the point, what are the advantages of online learning? So for me, online education allows students to attend classes from any location of their choice. It offers accessibility of time and place in education. So as we know, online lectures can be recorded, shared, or for future reference, so students can access the learning material at the time of their comfort. Unlike traditional classes face-to-face, where students will need to take notes during lectures, students can review the material later. Students can review the course materials as often as students want when students are most focused. So discussion and lectures will be in a form of video and podcast which can be watched, paused and reviewed as needed so that students can make sure we are following along. Also me, I like to study division at night between 2 until 5 morning. So it's easier for me to catch the lesson of the day when review the materials given by lecturer because that time is my comfort zone, comfort time, because there's contact with friends during revision hours, so lot of benefit when online learning. When learning from home, instead of traditional classroom, we can save money in numerous ways because we are staying with family. Mom will cook meals for us, do laundry. We are very comfortable at home. So the first savings is the money student can save by not having to commute to class every day because as a student, personally, I'm very difficult to wake up early, we get ready, and going to catch bus to go class. So it is very advantage we just wake up, open our eyes and our laptop, we already in class. So it's very convenient. Online learning cut off the cost of transportation, student meals, and just like I say, mom will cook for us 3 times a day. So we don't have to rent a home because it's very pricey nowadays. Online learning will not help students achieve student education goals, just like in SPM, degree, diploma, or other level or higher level education, but also gain new skills that can be beneficial when embarking on new career, especially in technology. So lots of advantage of online learning, but for now I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, no, Faizi. All right. Like from your explanation, I clearly can see that the greatest advantage of online, any of them even can attend their class from their workplace, so it's not a very big deal for them. And also, you highlighted that the greatest advantage of online learning is pre-recorded class, and also the classes that we recording during the learning session. Like we can play back and we can refer back to the same lesson that our lecturer or our teachers taught us for that particular lesson. So it's very easy, even if we miss out anything or if we are not understand or we want to refer back to any simple notes that we missed out to write jot it down, we actually can refer back to it. So, and also you said that online education can cost, we can save more money because we got no much expenses for this transportation, for any other books or any other expenses. Okay, so maybe we can ask from Mr. Muazan. So, how does this online education uh, affect the management of education department? Can you tell us about it?
Hello, hello, and good morning, everyone. Thanks to Ms. Tashini as a moderator today for the question. So, as someone who work at education department, all I can say is online education really give a big effect to the education system in our country. There's so much things need to be changed, such as method of education, the syllabus, and some education system. For one example, we can talk about the preparation of having such a big examination like SPM, and all other university staff were being suspended due to unexpected COVID-19 problems. So in the making of online education system like syllabus learning, the curriculum staff, and examination, we work very hard to carry out the best online learning solution, online learning process, so that it becomes smooth and effective to all the students.
All right, so we, from what you say, we can see that education system itself got affected. This online education. So as you said, public exams also got affected. Many students, they literally undergo stress and depression because they are not sure when they're going to have their exam, because they have to do their preparation. Like as you see, like yesterday, the SPM results were came out, and when I see the interview, many of these students, they are like saying they were very stressed during this exam week because they are not sure when they were when the system will be changed, and they are not sure of how the process is will be. So this online is quite how to say, it's very stressful, but at the same time our students managed to get a good result for their SPM. So that's really a good thing. All right, let's move on to the next question. Madam Darshika, so like when we are in online education, some students, they feel like less motivated when it's come to online education. Am I right or not?
Yeah, sometimes they would feel like that.
Yeah, right. So do you have any ways to keep your students motivated during this online learning? You have your own
Uh,
ways?
okay. To motivate my students, I actually employ a few methods. So I'll just state three of them maybe. So okay, firstly, I would say that rewarding my students as encouragement. So personally, that's a big win for me. This is especially needed for online learning because when my students are enrolled in an online course or online classes, I'm often afraid that they might experience a sense of this demotivation or disconnect from the rest of the class. So having a reward system like this in place can help me to manage that. For example, I'll give you an example. Like sometimes I would announce in the beginning of the class that whoever answers most of the questions during my class would get extra marks for the upcoming test. So rewarding my students like this has definitely improved their morale sometimes. Secondly, I would also say that quizzes and challenges also helps me during my online classes. Challenges like this are great for helping my students to get motivated for the lesson, as well as helps them to recap what was covered in the previous class. So spontaneous quizzes like this are particularly good for motivating those less engaged students who may be unprepared for classes. And okay, another method that I use in my class is by encouraging group work actually among my students. I know sometimes they hate that, like, oh my god, I need to do a group work, but it sometimes helps. Sometimes I would like split my students into small groups to work together on perhaps like a discussion. Maybe I'll give a topic and they have to discuss on the topic and they will present it to me. So this enables them to engage with their fellow peers and give them an opportunity to communicate and explore their ideas. And then after some time, I would, like ask each group to present what they have discussed. So therefore, I believe that these are the methods that surely help me to motivate my students in my class.
Wow, that's really great, madam. Like, I'm so happy that you actually take your own initiative to come up with these three ideas, and I simply love your, the third one, which is like splitting the work among your students. So this can lessen the students' burden, and they don't really get stressed during this online learning. And Faizi, students, you think whatever like madam said just now is like will keep the students motivated?
Yes, definitely yes. Because for me, I like various activity. It's keep me very motivated. Not only sit on the desk and listening, we can move around and more actively
Uh-uh.
joining the class, right?
So, but when we see a about this pros, like definitely there'll be a lot of challenges, right, during this online learning and everything. So as a student, what are the learning when you online learning time? What are the challenges that you faced? Can you explain for us?
So just like everything else, online learning has pros and cons. So most common challenges students are currently facing with online learning is technical issue. So technical issue are bound to happen in online environment. This makes sound cliche, but technical issues and internet connection are like best friend. Neither technical issue has problem, internet connection will have a problem. So it adds to the online environment frustration and interrupt learning session. Consistent connection with decent speed is a problem. Without a consistent internet connection for students, there are lack of continuity in learning students. So I live in a rural area, to be exactly in Sabah. So online learning is very difficult to cope with the internet connection. Sometimes many lecturers assume that when students have problems with internet connection, is just an excuse to escape class, but that is the reality. We have to explain ourselves every time it occurs. But that's okay, that is the challenge of online learning, right? So another challenges for student is struggle with focusing on the screen. For the first 40 minutes, maybe we can focus on the screen, but other than that time, we will find another joy, which is we play media social or another shopping site, just like Shopee, to entertain ourselves. So it is very typical to focus on the screen for a long time. For us as a student, we have a full pack of schedule for a day. Starting from 8 a.m. in the morning until to the 5 evening. So it is very difficult. Having a time management system is perhaps the most difficult challenge for students to overcome because it depends on entirely self-motivation. Sometimes when we are at home, family member asking for help, friends asking to hang out, so it's very difficult to say no. So thank you for the question, Mr. Shini, because they can understand what is students facing right now in online learning.
Yes, Faizi. So, as you said, these technical issues, these are the most common problem that has been facing by almost all the students, and definitely we can't predict like when we will have this internet connection problem. Like sometimes even the weather also doesn't cooperate with us, and then the worst situation, like students with medical condition, like too much on laptop or on other gadgets, or even sitting at the same position for hours could make them even more tired. Like I think these are the things like make these students even more stressful. So, Mr. Muaz, so what are the upcoming issues like due to this online education or virtual classes for a long term?
I think the issue coming up when online education was held is the internet connection, internet problems. There are many places in Malaysia still does not have a good internet connection. This will make it difficult for students to join the online classes. I can give you one example. For example, as we know, 2 years ago we heard a news that there is one student from Sabah who need to climb and stay on trees for days just because she need internet access to join the online classes. So this problem cannot being resolved until now because of the many barriers, and it is become one of the big problem in online education.
All right, all right, Mr. Muaz. Like probably you are just agreeing with Faizi, and it's absolutely direct to the point. So can we ask, Madam? I know, like okay, when it's come to online learning, there are also, as you said, there are pros and cons, right? So what's the what is something that you love the most about this online teaching?
Okay, although that in the beginning I said that I prefer face-to-face class, but also I would like to highlight that teaching online is also, there are advantages. Like there are sometimes that it helps me. So for this one, definitely flexible hours would be at the top. Once lessons are shifted online, I no longer have to wake up before 6 a.m. To be in school before 7:30. So depending on the after school activities and all that, sometimes we have to engage ourselves in co-curriculum and all that. There was once I was committed to. I only returned home late in the evening, past 6 p.m. So with these online classes, I can save on my travel time. Not only students, can save the travel time, like our student panel NURFAEZIE said just now. Even I can save my travel time, and I can plan or structure extra activities according to my availability. So yeah, I would say that another reason actually why I love teaching online is that I'm able to maintain the records of my online teaching sessions. So even our student panelists, Ms. NURFAEZIE explained just now that sometimes people have the internet connection problems and all that, right? So I think that maintaining my records of online teaching sessions is very important. From my point of view as a teacher, with so many classes and consultation slots within a day, it can be actually very difficult for us teachers to actually keep track of what we say to each class. So like we have too many classes in per day. So for me, maybe like in one day I would be attending 4 to 5 classes. So yeah, sometimes we can like lose track of what we are saying. So fortunately, teaching online gives me the luxury of recording classes for future references. So if students are unable to attend an online class, due to technical issues or if they are sick, I also do not have to worry or devote additional time to arrange for makeup lessons or worry about if they are catching up with my lessons. This recorded session can be shared with my absent students so that both me and my students would not have any trouble. So yeah.
Perfect, madam. So even when I was in semester 1 and 2, trust me, if I miss my class or I didn't attend my class, there'll be no one to to teach me back or to give the notes to me. But now, when I was in semester 3, 4, and till now, if I miss this class, if I need to repeat back the same lesson which I don't really understand, like I just very simple thing, I can just play the recorded video and I can refer back to the notes or the lecture that my lecturers are actually teaching. So that's one of the best thing about online learning, if you ask me also. So move on to the next question. So Faizi, I know that like as students, there are you will be very stressful, even if it's face to face or even if it's online classes. But the question now is, do you think online is more stressful than face to face classes?
I think online is very stressful than face-to-face classes because when online we cannot tell or copy the internet connection and we cannot understand what these lecturers say. Especially for me, I'm art student, so I need physical movement or I have to attend to studio to more understand about lesson rather than theoretical. So I prefer face-to-face learning.
Okay, there is no questions coming from me, but just a bit of feedback, all right? So you did speak about what are the challenges and so on, isn't it? Maybe you could have emphasized a little bit in terms of how, education is actually moving towards um, an institution without a building, all right? Ignore my voice, I'm having a very bad sore throat, yeah? So, in terms of how education is actually improvising and modernizing, in terms of you can actually get a degree even without having to attend school. So, emphasis a bit on futuristic education would be an added advantage. All right. Okay. So, but just a check. Where is Gabinesh?
He's not here, madam. We tried to call, but he's not here.
He didn't attend to any of your
Yeah.
calls. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, all right, no problem. All right, so thank you very much, team. I think that would be it for your discussion today. All right.
Thank you, madam.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
awal dia.
Finish
For me,
already.
that's
Ada soalan lagi.
like, it was buffering just
It's
now. I
about
wanted to this part.
25 minit dah kita buat.
Oh. Like, 4 orang 25 minit. Tiba-tiba 3 orang 25 minit tak?
Itulah.
It's halfway now. It's not completed. I feel like one time.
I'm waiting for the question just now.
We have like another question.
But it's okay, it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Muaz, you just